Teen Gohan is a character who in Dragon Ball Z has a big time following with the fan base and who is arguably one of the coolest characters in the series. At one point, he was the most powerful character in the series and the one who actually defeated the main villain of that arc in Cell. But exactly how old was he when he did this? Well, despite the fact that the fans have dubbed him Teen Gohan, this has been a hotly contested debate for a while. So let's take an in-depth look at this and find out. So as we know, in the beginning of the series, when Gohan is first introduced, Gohan is 4 years old, not 5 years old like in the English dub. Now originally he was 3 years old, but they decided to throw that to the wayside and make him 4 for some reason. In either case, this is the age that he started out with. But after the coming of Raditz and the death of his father, Piccolo took Gohan away to train for a year. So after this point in time, when Vegeta and Nappa show up, Gohan would have been 5 years old. But then of course we get to the next saga, the Frieza saga, in which Gohan and Krillin and Bulma have to travel to Namek. And at this point, according to the manga and the guides, it takes 10 days for them to fix Kami's ship so they can actually get there, 34 days for them to get there on the ship, and then when they're actually there, it takes Goku an additional 6 days to get there. And everything from the moment Goku touches down to the moment Namek explodes happens over the course of the same day. So that would be 50 days in total. But then once they get back to Earth, we need to add up the days that it took for them to summon the dragon. As we know, the Namekian dragon can only be summoned once every 130 days, which is roughly 1/3 of a year. And they summoned the Namekian dragon twice, which would add up to 260 additional days. So adding all of those up, that makes 310 days during this saga. And depending upon when Gohan's birthday is, he could have already been 6 years old by this point in time. However, at this point, another confusing change happens in the anime, whereas after this point in time, by the time that Frieza shows up, it says 1 year has passed. However, in the manga, it says an additional year has passed. So this means it's roughly been 2 years since the Namek conflict started, thus meaning that Gohan should be around 7 years old at this point in time. But as we know, after this begins the 3 years of training leading up to the coming of the androids. So by the time this is done and they show up, Gohan should be roughly around 10 years old. And finally, as we know, Gohan goes into the hyperbolic time chamber with his father for a day before they exit, so that they can train to fight Cell. And as we know, a day in the real world while they're in there equals a year within the hyperbolic time chamber. However, when they actually exit the chamber, everyone is surprised by how soon they're exiting and suggests that they weren't in there for the entire year. But it's likely they were in there for the vast majority of it, so using guesswork, we could assume that Gohan would be around 10 to 11 years old by the time he exits the chamber and closer to 11. And ultimately, even the anime agrees with this, as Gohan has an 11th birthday party during the 10-day wait after he leaves the chamber. So going by that, if he wasn't already 11 years old by the time he exited the chamber, during that 10-day waiting period for the Cell games, it's likely that he would have already turned 11. So in conclusion, using the evidence and math that we've seen in the series, this would mean that when Gohan fought and defeated Super Perfect Cell, he was 11 years old. And additionally, this would also mean that when Gohan was going to high school in the Buu saga, he would have been 18, which is only just a little bit creepy.
That's what I love about these high school girls, man. I get older, they stay the same age.
But anyway, my name is Mike, and this has been another video I was bringing you today on Dragon Ball Z. Let me know your own thoughts down below. Do you agree with me or do you disagree? Did you know that he was this old, or did you think maybe he was older or younger? Let me know down below. Also, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And as I always say, stick around, because there's a lot more to come in the future.